Peters, the Bulldog, with you on 700 WLW. Our second last segment for the American Trucking Network takes over. I want to thank Chuck Frederick, Daryl Parks, Rich Wahlberg, and Willie for giving me the opportunity to be on the radio. And Randy, let's do some lawyer and the preacher. Tony Parker and Eva Longoria. They both filed for divorce. There's a prenuptial in place, which kind of really answers the legal question. And I can't stress enough some practical advice to people. If you're going to get married, even if you don't have a lot, do a prenup. Prenup just makes sense. But he apparently was maybe having a relationship. I don't know if it was before or after the divorce, but Brent Barry, his teammate, his wife. Now, I'm assuming that, when you look at that issue and you think, well, there's the entertainment value of it, two famous people. Mm-hmm. And I always, when people think, oh, this guy, how can he cheat on Eva Longoria? And I always reminded my good buddy Barry Brand, my godson's poster of this hot girl on a bikini on a wall. And the caption was, some guy somewhere is sick and tired of her, you know what. So you never know. I mean, Tony Parker might be sick and tired of Eva Longoria, you know what. But just using that as an example, the legal ramifications is how it affects his contract, his teammates, and all of that. They might ship him out. If he's got a prenup, that probably takes care of it. But let me tell you something, from a legal standpoint, even if you got a prenup, if she has information that is damaging to him, that's what you do. Even though you got a prenup, if there's information damaging to shut her up, that she can play that card from a legal aspect. But then you've got, as a preacher, you deal with these things all the time. The issue of forgiveness, the issue of retribution. Those are the type of things that you counseled people countless times.
Oh, absolutely. Now, this is why a 3-hour block would be good to take out and discuss something like this. So we can just kind of get some morsels right here. You would think about a prenup, and I'm not really in favor of prenups, because essentially what you're saying is, okay, I'm going to stand and I'm going to supposedly pledge myself to you for life, but.
Right.
You hear what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, I'm all in, but.
Right.
Are you really?
Right.
Now, again, I am not the kind of guy to point fingers and accuse whatever, because I understand the need for prenups when you get to that level.
Right.
And people could look at me and say, well, if you had millions of dollars, what would you do?
Right.
Well, I guess I'd have to have millions of dollars to really know what I would do.
Or be like Gene Simmons, just never get married.
Yeah. Or who was it? David Lee Roth.
David Lee Roth. Paternity insurance.
Yes, exactly. Isn't that insane? Okay, but think about this. So when you look at a couple like that, and we could talk for a while about prenups and the morality of them, and I hope that we can sometime. But the forgiveness issue, that one is huge. That is one that, okay,
it's another huge virtue, just like loyalty. Yes. Forgiveness is powerful.
Yes, I'm telling you. I remember Don Henley had a song. You remember a few years back, about this. And that song moved me, because I know I was going through a time in my marriage.
Right. We all do.
Yeah, we all do. Exactly.
One of the reason why people are going to love you, Randy, when we have these discussions, is you're a preacher, but you are very much a man. And that's going to be a neat dynamic as you share, like I always share. Mm-hmm. I mean, I share some stories, and you're going to be great at that.
Right. And the thing is that it's okay to show people your wounds. That's a good thing. You can't bleed all over.
Right. Good point. You don't want to bleed all over.
Right. But so remember that. That's good advice. You can show people your wounds, don't bleed.
On forgiveness, Randy, I always say that forgiveness, like when I forgive somebody, and I have, and people have done things that, I said, hey, it's okay, I forgive you. And I've asked for forgiveness. I said, hey, I'm sorry about that. Like, I had an employee that misunderstood something that I said in a conversation about something, and I apologized, and that apology was accepted. The reality of it is that when it's a gift that you ask for or you receive, forgiveness is very powerful.
That's right.
I remember one time somebody in my inner circle that I did wrong, and I looked at him and I said, I'm asking you to do something very special. And they said, what's that? I said, forgiveness. Mm-hmm. You have that power because they say, well, how do we get that? And they gave me that gift.
Right, and that's awesome. And just out of curiosity, when you said I'm asking you for forgiveness, was that prefaced with "I'm sorry"? Was that
Absolutely. It was where you fall on your sword because I'm the one that screwed up.
Right. And by the way, that's commendable. That's great. But I would also further contend that even if the person doesn't come forward, okay, let's say Tony Parker, let's say that this is never proven,
You can still forgive.
still forgive.
Right. And you know what? I had a feud once with my brother, my older brother, and it lasted I didn't talk to my brother for a year.
Right.
By the way, it had nothing to do with women. I had a feud with my brother for a year, and I didn't talk to him for a year. Mm-hmm. And finally, I said, "This is stupid."
Right.
And I went in. And I said, "You know what? I want to put this behind blah blah." He goes, "Well, I didn't do." I said, "Listen, I don't care. You don't understand what I'm saying here. It's over."
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I tell you, you talk about the monkey comes off the back. Mm-hmm. Forgiveness.
Yes.
All right. 513-74. I'm not giving out the number. We don't have any more time. When we come back, we're going to wrap up and kick it off to the American Trucking Network. Eric Dieters, the Bulldog, with Randy McCafferty, the chaplain. You can call it the lawyer and the preacher. The Bulldog on 700 WLW.